Join me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone, again.
Morning, Gene.
Okay, we have the agenda before you. Is there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
It's been moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. You have the minutes attached to the agenda. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, we're in order for a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll so move.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve the minutes. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, first thing we have on the agenda is the West Nishnabotna Watershed Management Authority 2080 agreement. We would probably act on these individually. I think there's, the agreements for that and the following one of the east are basically identical except for the east and west. And does anybody have any discussion? I think we can talk about them jointly, but bids are identical. Does anybody have anything to comment?
Two things I picked up on that I liked. 5.2, it said that it basically made it clear that if you have someone serving on that board, that before any responsibility becomes official, that their governing board has to approve it. So, for example, if I was on that board and I said, hey, yeah, this is what we want to do, before it's official, this entire board would have to approve that action. And section 10 and 12 were on termination and withdrawal looked good too. So if we discover at some point that it's a mistake, because we only got a few square miles in these two, it's just down there. There's not a very big geographical area these cover.
Yeah,
But if we'd
right.
ever went out, it's an easy out. So that's what I read out of it. If there's no other discussion, I'll move to approve the West Nishnabotna Watershed Management Authority 2080 agreement.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the West Nishnabotna Watershed Agreement. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, next is the East Nishnabotna.
It's identical to the other one. So
Yeah,
I'll move on that
so-
one as well.
Okay.
I'll second that one.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve those. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, wait, you got a question over there? You're hiding back there, I can't see it.
What does this mean to the county?
What this means to the county is that this is a watershed that's set up, and there's a possibility that they can, through this watershed, they may have funds to prevent flooding. There's also maybe funds for also water quality in this area, different things like that. I'm not saying there's money available right now, but it gives us a means to work with this whole watershed for projects and stuff like that.
As it explains in the thing, it says it'll help us if monies are made available to the authority for the purpose of water quality and flood mitigation. We would be eligible to get some of those funds.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
That's how
what
it's
it is.
termed in the,
So down the road, there'll be funding requests.
Well, it all depends if there's funding available. Right now, there's $98 million available for this, for these watersheds, but we don't qualify for any of that because we don't have any need for it in our on the area that this, like Neil said, it just covers a little bit of Carroll County, but you know, we agreed to one on the North Raccoon River too, and the money's going up to Buena Vista. So there was $98 million that has been shared currently between 9 watersheds throughout the state of Iowa. So
That's
if
state or federal money.
that's federal money, that's
Federal
FEMA
money,
money,
yeah.
yeah. So if we would have been if we would've had a need, we could've qualified for it. If we're not in the watershed, in the future,
You're not eligible.
you're not eligible
Yeah.
then. So, I mean, it doesn't cost us anything, but we remain eligible that way.
We've got, basically got everything to gain, nothing to lose by being
Yeah.
part of this.
Basically, to really be general on the amount of Carroll County covered, it would be from between Manning and Templeton.
And basically, Walton Eden Townships.
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah,
I think
just
it might be a
square off.
little, just might be a little bit of Washington in that one.
But
You know, the last flooding in probably Carroll County was on the West Nishnabotna down in Manning when they had that, I don't know how many years ago that was, but
Yeah.
it's a small amount in relationship to the entire watershed, either
Yes.
one of them. But since we're at the upper end, and sometimes you want to start at the upper end, we may have a good possibility of being looked at for funding up front.
Yep. So where are we at?
If there's no other discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carries.
I need your signature 20 times, because we need 10 signature
copies.
pages.
We were
for
just
each
discussing
one.
that earlier.
Don't you need all these guys' signatures?
No.
Okay.
So if you would like, if
You're
you
in
could
charge.
sign, do you maybe want to sign the 2 that we're going to keep on file? And then if you want to do these after the meeting, we could do that, or you can do them
Yeah,
now.
I could either do them all after me.
You're sitting in the signature chair.
Yeah.
You're the only one who has a pen. Don't have one. Can't reach it.
Because they want this today yet, don't they?
Yeah, and I'll email it to her after the meeting, and then I have to mail her a hard copy today.
Harlan?
Okay. Remember her name.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the.
Golden
supervisor
Hills,
down
that's what they're
Okay.
gonna call that one.
Well, I think isn't that a water, they've got a Golden Hills, isn't it? that-
RC&D.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's a,
there. Yeah, she's head of that now. Okay, interfund transfer.
We have 2 of these.
Yep, this will be the second half of the budgeted amounts. So, the first resolution calls for transferring $109,473. It's transferred from general basic to secondary roads. And the other one is from rural services to secondary roads, $953,250. We do these after we collect our tax payments and the money's in the funds, so.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the resolution in regard to transfer of funds from general basic to secondary roads?
I'll make a motion to that effect for the $109,473.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Miners?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shetler?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Danzer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next we have the resolution for interfund operating transfers for $953,250 from rural service basic to secondary road fund. Is there a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Miners?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shetler?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Danzer?
Yes.
Motion carries. I'll pass the 2 around. The top one is the first one you passed, always.
We can't call it different, so we'll call it. Okay. We go down to Carroll County home sale resolution, I guess. We have a new one, corrected one, I understand. And like I told Neil, I wouldn't have caught that until I've gone more policemen. Good catch. So the one we have in our packet is wrong, but it's $101.
It's not, sorry, I was just gonna say, he just wanted to clarify the sale price. So the one in the one in the packet has got the wrong dollar amount.
Yeah.
But the one we approved last week isn't incorrect, but this one's more detailed.
Well, that one did not have a dollar amount in it.
Correct.
Didn't have yet.
But the one you have has got the 101,000 on it, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So basically, it's the same thing we approved last week, just a little more in detail.
I'll pass this around, it just has the dollar amount there in the. $101,000.
So this is just the amended version.
I wish we'd get done, because I hope it happens before I leave. That doesn't happen Thursday or Friday.
Because we leave early Thursday morning.
You guys going to DC?
No, it's Orange City for ISAC,
Oh.
Thursday and Friday.
You going to funeral first?
Probably just go to the wake on Wednesday night, probably. I don't know what time that funeral is, Thursday.
It's 9:30.
It is at 9:30. Yeah, it's about 2.5 hour drive up there, and we gotta be up there by 12:30.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the resolution? If not, or is there any further discussion? There's a motion to approve it.
I would so move that we approve this, the resolution.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, roll call, I guess, right?
Miners?
Yes.
Bos?
Yes.
Shetler?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Danzer?
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, there's a place here for signatures.
As soon as this is final, we need to contact our insurance company. Utilities as well, but the insurance is particular of importance.
Yeah, I got a letter, insurance, utilities, elevator,
Okay.
there's quite a few things.
You've got the list then?
Yeah.
Great. Elevator, yeah. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Very good.
Put an X for your signature.
Is that, are those funds
Yes.
going in the general? fund?
Almost did right beside it. I probably figured I gotta move over now.
So we can discuss that.
And it'll probably still work.
We had some discussion on it.
Or should we maybe wait till we get that check and then before we make the deposit, decide?
We
at
could
that
discuss
point?
it today, it's up to the chairperson.
What do you mean, as far as the check?
Or wherever the funds should go.
I assume it was gonna go to the general fund, but I don't know if we, where else we'd go with it. What else would the auditor suggest?
Well, you're
What
selling a
fund?
capital asset, so you could put it in the capital fund, but you're pretty restricted then on using it. Over the course of time, all the expenses and revenues went into the general fund. Rents went into the general fund. Any utilities, well, right now the utilities, but like when I think we budgeted $10,000 in repairs and maintenance for that building over the past how many years, and that's all been out of the general fund. So
I
you
would-
could make that argument.
I would
Yeah.
recommend the general fund. If you feel it's necessary to check with the state auditor on that, go ahead.
I could certainly
Because you
ask.
said
Why
that
don't
if
you?
the capital would be restricted then?
Well, you can only use that for capital projects.
I would say that, let's put it back in the general fund, that's where it came from.
That is my preference. is-
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I will
That's where all the
email-
expenses have come from, so.
Yeah, I'll email them and ask them just to make sure that that's an okay thing. If I hear differently, I'll let you know.
Very good.
Okay. Turkey building discussion. Anything there? Anything else?
No, I just got some interest in a few offices there, and before we can get back to the interested party, we need to go over there and take our tour, which is number 13, and talk with home health care and Louis and everybody that's in that, and kind of decide where everybody's gonna land, so we know.
They were gonna be here, Louis and.
They're gonna be here for the part of this
For-
discussion.
For this
Yeah,
discussion?
and I told them
Okay.
it would be later, so.
Okay. All right, let's just hold our discussion till they get here.
Yeah.
Because I'd like them to
Okay.
be in on it, but just, that's the premise, where are they gonna land, so we know what is available. And then we'll have some more discussion on that later, if that's how the chairperson wants to handle it.
No, we'll wait till they get here, then if they're coming over. I didn't realize they were coming over here. We'll do manure management update. We have one here for Brent Halber, and that is in,
Section 9,
Ewell Township.
Ewell, I can't even see it here.
that second page, I think.
Oh,
I had to look for it too.
I'm getting blind on the back. Okay, there it is. Section 9 of Ewell, and they have made no changes. Then we have one for Twin Hill, Joe Danner. That is in section 32 of Pleasant Valley. And they've made change to crop rotation for optimum yield, and also use manure analysis to determine application rates for applying. Okay. All right, committee reports.
I can start.
Okay.
I didn't have any.
What about this week?
I don't think I've got anything coming up.
I have the same report as Dean, except I'm looking forward to doing the radio and newspaper this week.
Holy crap. Rich?
I didn't have anything last week.
We'll have to take a break.
Today I have daycare. After tonight, I have daycare tonight, this upcoming week. I didn't have anything last week, other than, I did meet with the chamber one day. I went and visited with Shannon for lunch one day in the CADC.
Marty?
Last Friday, went out with Dave, looked at a few things. Drain 77 here in Carroll up on 12th Street. We've got a couple of trees down in the creek there. Dave and I went and looked at that. It's up by 12th Street, north of 12th Street, behind the condos there.
Okay.
And Dave was gonna talk a little bit about that today, I think. But anyway, he's looking at probably taking like a skid loader in there and trying to pull them out and then cut them up and then chip them. They're laying in the creek, so he wants to get those out so they don't end up downstream in a culvert under a bridge. And then also looked at a road ditch clean out on Mahogany Avenue, just south of Swan Lake, about a mile. And then also got a call last week from Dave Werzer on the road shoulder in Willie, on the south side of Willie. On the east side, there's kind of a gully in there. And we're gonna try and do something there to kind of shave that off so the water goes off of the shoulder instead of going down the shoulder of the road. It's cutting for, probably 300-400 feet. And so we're gonna try and fix that. And
Couple of relief points.
we'll probably have to go in there and just take some of his grass off a little bit. There's kind of a hump there, and it's not getting off the shoulder of the road. So Dave talked about taking a skid loader down there and just kind of shaving that a little bit and then cleaning that up. So that's all I had. And then this week, Gene and I are gonna be in Orange City for the ISAC retreat on Thursday and Friday. That's all I have.
You guys all had light weeks. Okay, last week, had policy council meeting on Tuesday for Head Start. Went through the program report. They were pretty well fully enrolled. We had one child short at what we should have, but we have always been allowed 30 days to fill those slots. And usually this time of year, we get close to the end of the school year, we don't have to fill them. Well, now we have, one of the new changes, we have to fill them clear up to almost the end. Now, it's kind of hard to do, but one thing they did do is also then change it so that we can allow a 3-year-old to be in there, kind of give them a little pre-test to start. So that kinda helps us out there, so. We had no health and safety playground issues. Talked about one staff update, they hired another teacher for Waukee. We're having, as you know, we're having 3 classrooms that are gonna go to full day. There's one in Waukee and one in Perry, and then one here in Carroll. We did approve the purchase of a building in Waukee. We're gonna settle on that before too long. We've had one that we've been renting that's been not giving us some problems, so we did finally move on to that. We talked about self-assessment. They're in the process of that. We went and followed up on the reports for school readiness, which shows where they're at in different areas, where they're at from last fall to this, to the winter session. We did approve the CACFP agreement. We had some talk about the early Head Start curriculum. Currently, we're on creative curriculum, and that just deals with Head Start. So the problem we've had, we don't have a curriculum that takes care of the early Head Start, but they do have one now that calls Parents as Teachers, which will cover also early Head Start and Head Start. So we're looking at possibly switching over to that curriculum. Then we did do a community needs assessment, and which that was with new opportunities, which you guys will all be getting one of them. So I encourage you to do it. I've got mine done. So, then on, lost my calendar here now. Then on Wednesday, I went to Audubon. That was with our local development group, went down that groundbreaking of Waspies. And then on Thursday, we had a new opportunities board meeting, and basically went through all the same things I just went through as far as the policy council. We approved our financials, they were in good shape. We did also approve the line of, we always buy it, I shouldn't say buy. We always have a line of credit set up at the bank in case we run short funds at times and we make payroll. So we did approve that extent, renewal of that. We haven't used it for years, but we do have it there. Did report on the Partners for Families changes there that we will no longer be the fiscal agent for them, and they will not be no longer being housed in our facilities either. Then we did approve the Department of Energy's contract for $94,748. That's 60% of the funds. We approved the weatherization program and designation of signatories. We approved the policy on faculty safety and cleanliness directive. This is something that's new that we had required for our grant. I approved the community service block grant, CSBG program report, and there was showed that we did use. I got to see if I can read my number. Last year we served 834, and there's 856 currently this year that were in emergency food programs, and 113 last year versus 161 that were in crisis funding this year. Again, we talked about this community needs assessment survey. Also then had the letters of approval of our audit from the Department of Human Rights, and also one from Public Health, and also approval for the fiscal year 16 Community Service Block Grant in your report. So that was that. Then on Friday, I did attend 2 open houses in Templeton, one from Adam Mary's and the other one for Shetner Designs. And then this week, I gotta get over here. That was Thursday and Friday, we got that deal up in Orange City, our retreat for eyesight and failure. So that's what I got. Okay.
I do have one thing I forgot to mention. I got a call from Virgil Earlbeck from Maple River. Lives on the east side of Maple River there. All the water from Maple River comes down into that ditch, and the ditch is full. And he wanted me to look at it and see if they couldn't clean it out. And I was going to talk to Dave about that too. I think there's a better way to maybe handle that.
Doesn't he live on the north side of that street?
He lives in the south side. Yeah.
Or yeah, on the south side of
Right.
that north street that runs, or that gravel road that goes east.
Right.
Along parallel to the
He-
railroad.
Yeah, yeah.
He lives on the south side, the last
Yep.
house there.
Yep. And so all, I mean, if you walk back up there, you can see that all the water basically
Yeah.
comes down in through there. And it takes a lot of gravel, and I think there's some fall problems there because the culvert's half full of gravel and dirt and sand, and so something needs to be done there, but I was gonna talk to Dave today about that, but there's just some, and then on the other side of the road, I think Dave's been talking with Jason about trying to get the water away from the north side.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of places for that water to go in that river.
That whole thing right in there is just kind of a bottleneck.
Yeah, it is. It comes
You got-
down
you
and then
got
it
the
just
same problem
levels
over
up.
in front of Custer's shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in bad shape all the time. Anyway,
Okay.
more on that.
Do you have anything else to report, Cory?
An election tomorrow in Manning,
That's right.
special. Polls are open from noon to 8.
That's for hotel tax.
No, it's,
You can ask for
they're-
utilities, isn't it?
Yeah, they're trying to
Oh.
reconfigure their board for the
Yeah.
utilities.
That's right, they had that hotel tax.
Um, Before Wellmark gets here, I'd just like to make a comment on the HM Life Wellmark comparison here. I did the math and to see which one was best, and there are some
I'll keep looking on it.
areas that aren't
You gotta
perfectly
kinda walk
accurate,
back in
and
there.
I'll tell you
Can't
what
see
those
it from
are.
the road. You gotta kind of walk back in there about 2
The head count is from October of 16, and there's been a few changes there. One big change that I did take off and account for was case management policies that are no longer with us. The other inaccuracy is when HM Life did it, they assumed a 4-member family and a 3-member employee. So there would be some adjustment because that's not completely accurate either. So that being said, I took what was left over and did a comparison because it's hard to say just by looking at it which one is the most. I see there are more policies where Wellmark is cheaper, but some of the more higher dollar amounts, HM is cheaper, but it washed out. It's $1,319 more favorable on the Wellmark side. Areas now, but, and we don't have their final rates, so if their final rates are unchanged, that's,
HM's.
that's the difference we have, that we're looking at, pretty close to that figure. So, I just wanted to mention that before the man got here.
Good.
And,
Thank you.
I see Clark has just arrived.
We're ready to, we got about 1 minute, we better wait for the public
Okay.
hearing, I suppose.
Yep, according to this anyway.
Morning, Clark.
Good morning.
Okay, it's 9:30 according to my clock. We will open the public hearing for the amendment to the Carroll County budget, which was posted and advertised, publicized in Carroll Herald and the other 3 papers. Courtney, you want to go through that?
Sure. This should be our final budget amendment for fiscal 17. These are all expenditures that are included in this budget amendment. Nothing's changed since the last time we spoke of this. Let's see. So we have total in service area 1 or public safety and legal services is $17,000. So that breaks out 7,000 medical examiner services. That's the fee the county pays for autopsies and for our medical examiner to go out. And $10,000 for jail meals, and I think Ken touched on that a little bit, just that they've had full house down there. Moving down, county environment and education, what that is $700. It's planning and zoning publications and notices. He's just had a lot going on down there. There's been some amendments to ordinances and things like that, so we need a little bit in there to cover that. Service area 9, or if you see it's administration on the amendment, $4,000. That's for IT, data processing and services. And find what his explanation was on that. So I get it right this time. The last time I told you wrong.
Wasn't that for consulting more on that one thing?
Yes. So he says that it's for work on changes to the network switches to accommodate the new phone system and changes to the sheriff's department's accessing the server remotely for 2 of their programs. So that's what that is for. And let's see here. And then the final one is, conservation, $5,000, and that's for their disc golf course. And I think initially he wanted 38, and then now he's gonna take 5, and that comes out of his capital fund. So overall, there's a shortfall of $26,700 for this budget amendment.
Okay. Have you got any written comments on it?
No.
Is there any comments from the public? Okay. Is there any comments from this group?
Although it's not in here, should not be in here, the bottom line will undoubtedly be $101,000 better due to the sales we approved earlier today and our ending fund balance, but it, of course, should and cannot be reported here, so.
Right.
I guess the best part of the budget is not going to show.
So we possibly could see another budget amendment when we add that. Is that correct, before the first?
We
meeting?
can't.
We're not
Can't?
required, we're not required to have an amendment for revenue,
Okay.
unless you would
So-
want to spend it. And-
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm not anticipating doing that.
Yeah, okay.
Spending it.
After this,
We won't probably have time, because you could do amendments in the month of May, but you can't do them in June. And you have to publish within, 10 to 20, so we're kind of running out of time.
Yeah. They can wait, whatever.
Not that I know of, but
okay. All right, you have heard it. Is there a motion to approve the budget amendment?
So move.
I'll second it.
Then moved and seconded. Is that part of the, actually, that resolution, right?
Well, we usually approve
The
that, and
budget.
then we do the resolution,
Yeah.
Okay, all
but we need
that-
to close the hearing too.
Oh, yeah. We'll close the hearing at 9:34. So there's been a motion and a second to approve the budget. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Need the chairman's signature on that.
that pin warmed up. That pin warmed up from the nation about that.
No, keep switching.
It's interesting.
You have to stay after.
That's like that too.
Gotta stay after school.
Yep.
Okay, next we have is the appropriations resolution that appropriates that budget amendment we just passed. Is there a motion to approve that resolution?
I would make the motion we approve that resolution.
Okay,
I'll second it.
moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Do a roll call.
That's a roll call.
Resolution, roll call, excuse me.
Miners?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shetler?
Yes.
Hawk?
Yes.
Danzer?
Yes.
Motion carries. I'll pass this.
I shouldn't have done that, I was on a roll.
more money than you spent. Just can't have enough of those days.
Good morning, Dave.
Well, Dave, we're ready for you, I guess.
All right, that's great.
Yeah.
Gosh, how'd that work out?
Perfect timing.
Perfect.
A lot of pictures today.
A lot of pictures here. I'll pass these around. This is the tree root drain. Drain 18 down section 11 Union. Little bitty trees. Amazing. They replaced 200 and some feet of tile. They did it in the water. There's no other way to do it.
You couldn't drain the water first, or no way to drain it?
Could you keep the flow level line?
They did, yeah. Yeah, they took the old tile out, they dug out the old tile. And had to have 4 guys there just to stand on the tile so it wouldn't
Hold
float
it
up.
down.
So they connected. Had to use the little backhoe to hold the tile down and put the dirt on it. Used a skid steer to push the dirt in because it was so mucky.
And doing it water, I would just turn that flow.
Jeez.
They'd dig the tile out, they'd pop all those out and then walk the flow line. And that cradle there was there from the previous tile. And so they put the new tile in the same place.
I'm sure it'll drain when it dries up.
There just,
Sure to drain that
there
area.
shouldn't be, there ought to be a law against having so much fun.
Really?
They should be.
I mean, they're,
Oh, Lord.
You know, if he'd eat more meat potatoes, they wouldn't need that bucket.
he didn't weigh enough to hold that thing down.
Bigger people.
So who did that work?
7 county employees.
Is this our excavator?
That's our excavator. And
Oh,
not
these are
only-
our employees?
These
Yeah.
are all
Yeah.
our employees, yeah.
The one in John Burns.
Not a crossword amongst any of them. They're a wonderful bunch.
That's funny. They look so tiny.
They do look so tiny. Yeah, there's the backhoe. Backhoe and backhand, it gets stuck, skid steered, have to pull the backhoe out.
Jeez.
Even before, it was a mess like
Your
I've never
knees and
seen.
joints hurt from wallering in that mud.
Oh,
the
just
next
thinking
day.
about it,
Oh,
yeah.
just.
I don't think you could have waders high enough to keep drying.
No.
But who's this guy that's got dry jeans?
That's Dave.
Oh.
Is that me?
No,
Kidding.
I was there.
there's another guy with dry jeans.
That's Joe, yeah. Yeah, I just didn't get, he's the backhoe operator.
Okay.
And usually they don't get too wet.
Easier to-
I have seen it wet though.
Wow, what a mucky mess.
Oh, man.
That really slabbed up, didn't it?
Did you see that one chunk of roots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, well, here's another one over here, that kinda,
Mm-hmm.
but they were like maybe the length, maybe 10 feet long, they'd come out, and they'd be dangling like that, and they looked like a ponytail almost. And,
That came from in the tile.
in the tile, yeah, and it just kept coming and coming. It's interesting to look at these white
Look at all those
spots
tree
over the
roots right
tile.
there.
Those are roots where they're sticking in the seam of the tile.
Really?
And those little trees weren't that big around.
Huh.
Is
You would
this-
expect a bigger tree from the root system, much bigger.
What kind of an area was that in? That wasn't in farm ground, was it?
It was, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't
There's a-
pasture or anything like that, or?
No, it was farm ground on
It
the
was farm
sides, a
ground?
pretty nice wide right of way, and there was this patch of trees, maybe
What was it right away?
200 and some feet long, and who would have guessed?
Trees. So how close were the trees? Were they just little things? I mean, it looked like they got huge roots.
Just little
Neil.
sprigs is all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the roots didn't end until they got to the very end. That's what they, they don't even look like trees. I'm not sure if they were willows or those costs.
Assuming you put solid tile there.
We did, actually, we put plastic perforation. The landowner, actually the renter, it's kind of a new landowner and a new renter. The renter says he's gonna spray them, but we probably better keep our eyes on it, because we sure don't wanna go through that again.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of a bad situation, because if you put solid tile in, and it's not gonna drain.
Yeah.
And if you put perforated, you know, you
Just
stand the
keep
risk of
biting.
having the same problem
That's
again.
nothing but a goddamn.
Well, that's a
Well,
lot
that's
of-
a slew there.
Yeah,
Is there a herbicide you can use, or you just clip them and use Tordon?
I guess there is a
Yeah.
herbicide that they can use
Okay.
that's not detrimental to the water.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
just, the water came up to about 4 foot in depth. We had an intake over the front end of the tile, so it would plug up with debris and whatnot. And the water came up to about 4 foot in depth when we got the next chunk of tree roots off. And so we left for the day just because there was so much water there, they couldn't work in it. And came back the next day and it was down. And they did the same thing again and it came up, but it was only temporarily up because they'd taken the intake off and had really good flow.
Hmm.
That was about $11,000 worth of work.
Oh, my God. So, the drainage district is gonna pay for that then?
Yes. Yeah, it was, that's 2 tree root jobs, been around so far this year, you know, both a 15-inch tile, or actually one's an 18-inch tile, the other one's a 15-inch tile. And to see how far those tree roots can reach.
I'll get the congested enough to fill that gap, that hole.
Yeah, and how it restricts the flow was just amazing. And the pressure that the tile are under, you know, they're so much above their capacity. When you uncover the dirt, the water just shoots out of the seams. There was so much pressure there just from the backup of water.
You knew you were above the plug when that happened.
Yeah. Every seam has got a geyser shooting up about that high, and then pretty soon it filled the whole trench up, and
Yeah.
took a while to drain it down then.
When do you make the call going from tile to just go back to an open ditch?
That's a good question.
I mean, how far did you go here?
A couple 100 feet, between 200 and 300, I think.
Is that something they could have lived with there, making it 200 or 300 feet long open ditch? And farmed around it?
Yeah, but yeah.
I mean, I don't know the circumstances.
How big a
there, but
tile did you put in
15.
You're getting close to the size where you just leave it open
Mhm.
and just let it run.
Yeah, doesn't seem to be the way things are going.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to some drainage district engineers in counties up north, you know, like in Hamilton County, to where they depend nearly 100% on the district for their drainage, and they're putting in new, bigger lines with a higher coefficient, spending lots and lots of money on that to maintain their drainage system, just because the old ones are shot or
Some
too
really
much-
old,
too much running through them.
really old, and then the more pressure put on them, there's more tile hooked into them.
We're just around the corner with that, I think. That's gonna be-
Where was that at?
This is
Around,
in
no, I
Union
mean,
Township.
you were talking about up north.
Well, like in Hamilton County.
Oh, yeah.
uh,
Well, they've got
Buena Vista
they
County.
got a lot of drainage issues. up
They
there.
do, yeah. Yeah, a lot of flat ground.
Yeah.
But they're putting in, you know, huge, 54-inch, 60-inch tile up, you know, spending a lot of money.
Yeah, I've got 40s across mine.
Do you? Yeah, you can imagine the cost. That was, yeah.
What do we got today?
Well, we've got some trees in the drainage ditch in Drain 77, north of 12th Street, north of Grant Road. Marty and I walked back in there the other day, and then there's several fairly large down trees laying across the creek.
Take a look.
name should be familiar. I think where I've got the red circle is pretty close to where that is. I think if we get the time, we'll probably have to cut our way back in there. There's a lot of underbrush. We'll have to cut our way back in there through that underbrush to get in, and we've been partially back in there already to get those out of there.
Did you ever go up to Maple River and look at that creek up there that's got all that debris underneath that bridge? Right by Maple River, the soft rail trail bridge.
Yeah. The railroad bridge itself,
Yeah, well,
or
it's a soft rail trail bridge, it's the old railroad, but I mean,
Uh-huh.
there's just a bunch of, I mean, it's blocked. There's trees and stuff like that.
yeah, no, I guess I've seen underneath the old rail bridge, the soft rail trail bridge, I've been underneath that before, but it's been a while
Yeah, but this is snow.
now.
There's a bunch of trees and logs and stuff built up underneath that. I
And
don't
you're
know.
not saying the highway bridge, you're saying the one that's over the rail.
Soft rail trail,
Yeah.
yeah. You can see it from the road.
I'll have to look again. Not sure who would take that out, probably the conservation.
Get in there with the backhoe.
Yeah.
Try to get a skid loader in and get a hold of those.
Yeah.
Have to wait for it to dry up and have.
Yeah.
So you gotta drag it all out of the tree then.
That skid loader,
That's gonna be difficult to get to, Dave.
we drove back up here the other day, and I think we can probably cut our way in the rest of the
You're
way.
gonna have to cut to get back in. I've been back in there. You'll have to
Yeah.
cut to get it back. I mean, there is kind of a trail about to where your thumb is, but the rest of
Yeah.
the way, you're gonna have to cut trees to get back to it even.
I think we cut this work when we did that work for that guy right there.
Okay.
We cut in there, so I'm thinking we'd probably be best off because the handwriting is on the wall that I'm down the line.
So you
They'll
come in from
probably
the
have-
north then, or
Pardon?
which direction you come in from?
We could come in from the south. Marty thought maybe we could come down here by these buildings down this.
That's
this
pretty
bank.
steep right there.
Pretty steep there.
That's pretty steep right there.
We'd probably tear things up pretty good, so. Yeah.
Very steep right there. I've been back over that whole thing, Dave.
Not trapping back in there, are you?
Kim?
No, no.
Is there a way we can abandon a drainage system?
Let's give to the city of Carroll.
The water is up a little bit higher behind that. Is it causing a drainage issue? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, take care of it then.
Yeah, this is actually one where we do have a drainage issue, where it's laying clear across the creek. You'd only be in high water, but if we get a lot of debris collected against it, it could cause some difficulties there.
Okay. That's the only drain you need repaired today?
That's the only one, that's drain 77. I think there's a couple $1,000 in that kitty yet for that one.
I'll make a motion to repair that drain.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Got 2 utility permits. First one's from Western Iowa Power Cooperative.
That's my drainage fund, gonna get it charged.
They want to put an overhead line in.
That's my drainage fund's gonna be the bill.
In section 36 of
Good for you.
Washington Township, from Granite Avenue, halfway into the section 36 towards Falcon Avenue, on the south side of the road. A nice drawing that they got there. It's an overhead line. It's the kind we like.
It's easy to locate them. Put your backhoe in there and start driving. Find them every time.
We had to move a utility on the box culvert on the pavement that we're gonna do down by Ralph Box house. There was an optic fiber in there, and they bored underneath the culvert to where the new culvert's gonna be. And their optic fiber that they put in was that far off the edge of the pavement. We allowed them to put it in the shoulder, but they put it right next to the edge of the pavement. We were concerned about them digging that up and causing trouble with the pavement. So they agreed to go another 3,600 feet or spend another $10,000 to go to a PED in the ditch bottom instead of hooking on at that point.
And who is that?
Which utility?
Yeah, Windstream is.
Okay.
I remember when they put it there.
That's a good memory. I don't. It's not that old, but yeah. I've got a second utility permit from Raccoon Valley Electric Co-op. This one is a bore through Velvet, blacktop just north of Coon Rapids, for Robert Brumbach, 29732 Velvet. They're going across the Velvet over to his residence. That's in section 10 of Union Township.
Not too far from our tile issue there.
No,
It's right across the road and south of Bureau Bass. where Bureau
You
lives.
guys wanna see these?
It's that house that was on the east side they tore down.
You wanna see these? Or not?
I don't, you wanna see me? Dean might want to.
No.
Might want to look at it.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the utility permits?
I'll make that motion. We approve the utility permit.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried.
I thought so. Two, yeah.
That's just one of the one?
Huh?
Two of one and one of the one?
There should be.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, you might wanna-
Good thing you asked, Jane. You found it.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, and
Feed.
the interesting
Yeah,
thing is,
feeds
well,
a
there's,
switch.
there's no right of way in there, like there is like in Fishkill, but that was kind of real estate
It's been there, it's been
development.
there since
So that's kind of
since
no man's
about,
land out
oh,
there.
in the 80s. But
It's interesting how the lot
yeah.
lines go
It
from
was
one
put-
side to
it
the
was
other.
When they put a DMS 100 down to Audubon, and then they fed coon.
A lot of nice
Alder,
hackberries
Clinton,
back
Bear.
Yeah.
It's a big switching up.
Okay, anything else, Dave?
That's it.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
I guess I didn't.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Take care.
Have a good week.
Had the wheels
Okay,
right on the
well, Mark.
concrete.
Join the hot seat.
Morning, Clark.
Good morning. The last time I was here, I think I talked a little too long. How much time do I got today?
Well, we just have some specific things, I guess, to go over.
Okay.
That's what we want to hit on.
That sounds good.
My first question.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask him that too.
Yeah, I'll let you guys lead it, and then whatever you don't cover, things that I think I need covered, I'll cover, so.
My first question is on your stop loss insurance that you bid on.
Mhm.
Do you have the final rates yet?
I
You said you'd have in May, and it is May.
I understand that. I'd asked Darcy on the way here today, and she was checking with underwriting. I should have those today. I should have them.
Okay, okay,
I don't think they're gonna change from our initial, but
All
I
right.
should have them.
for the stop loss.
Yes. Yep.
When you're here in April, you.
Yeah, they should,
You'd have
they
them in
should
May.
be here, and I know you probably.
You didn't say which day, I know.
Yeah, and it's May 1st,
Yes,
yes.
it is.
So, yeah, they, actually, it probably should have been out a week or so ago, but I haven't received those.
Well,
Any other questions regarding that? Because I know I'd left you with lots of things that we discussed, and I know time was kind of starting to run out, and I told Courtney that I'd be willing to come back, and I think we can talk about a few things. Now, remember, you guys are moving to our new claim system, so we need to have a decision, we need to have our paperwork in before the 1st of June, if all possible, maybe a week or so before that, because everybody's gonna get a new card. So we need to get all that information in, so everybody gets a new ID card, and there's no problem when they go to the pharmacy on July 1st. They'll have that new card and be ready to go from there, so. But there is a few things that we need to decide upon. Does everybody have the renewal book? Some of them do, some don't? Okay, no problem, no problem. First thing is on tab 5, we're gonna talk about, this is that ACA, okay?
I'll tell you what, why don't I just slip over and watch with Neil?
Yep, you can do that.
Mark, you can
Sure. First one is on tab 5, is this ACA, section 1557, non-discrimination, be the next page, I think, probably. Well, you have that.
On tab 5, do I have the right one here?
That's part of what I'm gonna
What does
talk
it look
about.
like?
It looks like this, you have one page behind that. So that's just, this is
Is it?
non-discrimination, yes. And what this is ACA mandates that everybody covers transgender surgeries and dysphoria for transgender. Since you guys are a county and you receive federal funds, it's required for you to cover this, but.
There's really not a decision to make.
No,
though,
really,
Right.
there's not. Just wanted to let you know that this is gonna be part of that. On the second, back part of that first page, it just talks, we just need you to check the box that you're gonna approve it. In your writing, say that you're gonna add this treatment for gender identity disorder. So you're gonna just write your wording in here, and effective 7/1 is what you're gonna write in here, then have them sign it.
So I'm just gonna make sure, am I on the right page?
Yep, you're there. One more. This is where you're gonna just write this wording in here, but it's gonna be 7/1 instead of 1/1. Okay?
So you said them sign it, the whole
Well,
board
it
signs
just,
this? or
no, I don't know,
chairman?
it just talks about the officer.
Okay.
I
That's,
think you usually.
that's
Yeah.
required, we
Yeah.
don't even have a choice on
That
that.
is correct.
Right.
So it's just a, put it on our
Courtney,
to-do list.
you've been signing all the stuff on Blue Cross, right?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah, as the
Okay.
administrator.
I don't see any need to discuss it in detail.
No,
There's,
no,
Just a.
Not that I agree with it, but that's.
Yep, I was just at Bremer County and they didn't agree with it either, but it is what it is.
And move on.
It's not a medical issue is my point, but go ahead.
Yep,
Go ahead.
exactly. We'll go a few,
Self-inflicted.
It's not.
we're gonna go a few pages farther. We talked a little bit about doctors on demand. And that is a few, there's a PowerPoint that's in here. That's a few pages farther. And I haven't had a self-funded client that says they don't want to add this. What this, couple more pages. No, couple more pages. This is actually the PowerPoint. That is a brochure that we, there you go. Basically what this is just another provider that's in the network, but it's on your phone. You can call these folks. I have the app that's on my phone. It's a pretty simple process. I can just pull up the app, I hit the button, I want to talk to somebody about my medical issue. And it's a $40 total cost, allowed charge. You go to McFarland Clinic here, it's probably $125 to go to the doctor. You know, they pay their $20 copay, the county pays the rest. You can set it up where this is still a $20 copay, the county paid the other $20. When you go a couple of pages, next page in here, talks about the diagnosis categories that typically over there on the bottom on the left. It talks about colds and flus, allergies, skin, sore throat. You have a child that you can't get to the doctor, or maybe you don't want to go to the doctor because it's cold and flu season. There's 1,400 providers that are around most of the country, 47 states, and they're all assigned to doctors on demand. So what you do is you hit the button, you would talk to one of those people. If they can treat you for one of these things, it would be the $40 charge. If you have, say you're having chest pains or something like that, and they can't treat you, and they tell you you need to go to the ER, no cost to this. The nice thing about it, adding this to your plan, it costs the county $0. They only cost you is if they use it. If they use it, it costs you $20 to their $20 compared to going to the McFarland Clinic.
I would guess I would say that it doesn't cost the county because we're saving.
You're saving
Saving
money,
money
but
versus-
there's some providers that they give you virtual visits, but there's like a monthly surcharge or a fee to use this. There's no cost to you. If nobody uses it, it just stays on your plan as a provider that nobody's utilizing. So it's just a convenience thing, as I would tell all the employees that if I got a chance to talk to them, we don't want to replace your relationship with your doctor. This is a convenience thing.
And this is at any time of the day?
7 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
365 days a year. So Christmas morning, something's going on, the ER is the only thing that's available. This would be available to a kid that has an ear infection or something like that.
So it's just an app on your phone?
It's an app on your phone. You can also do it on your computer. They just need to see you. So you have to have a camera.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have to see you.
So do you see them?
Yes, yes. you
Kind of
do.
like a FaceTime.
Yep, exactly right. They'll ask you a
Okay.
few questions. They can diagnose quite a few of these things just by looking at you. If it's more than what these things are, like I said, they won't.
What if you're out of the country?
You should be able to do it too, out of the country, yeah.
Big advantage.
As long as you have cell
Depends
service.
which country you're
yeah.
going to. Yeah, my understanding is there's no cost. We could initiate it at any time. Gives a lower deductible than the benchmark or something like that.
Lower copay, yeah.
Lower copay. Is there any of your customers who did not want to do this for any reason?
I haven't had one, no.
I didn't think this was a hard decision either.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I could see this being real favorable for the high-tech moms, especially because those kids tend to always get sick, correct me if I'm wrong. It's after
At
5
5
o'clock.
o'clock.
Oh, absolutely.
After 5
Right.
o'clock.
I don't know how
So-
many times I've had to go to the ER.
So
because, yeah.
they would save them from going there, you can call them.
Well, especially if you have a kid that's maybe has some ear issues and you know that the it's gonna go in, the doctor's gonna prescribe amoxicillin and they're gonna clean this thing up,
Yeah.
I can call. That's what they're probably gonna do. You go to IV and pick it up and you're ready to
Oh,
go.
they can write scripts and
Absolutely,
the
they
way it
can.
goes.
So
But they're
do
kinda
they-
limited on what, they're not gonna, write any painkillers or anything
Right.
like that, because you're gonna wanna see those
But,
things, but yes.
Now, that's my question, when they write a script, what they do is send it to the pharmacy
They
then?
would do that for you, yes.
So it's there when you go?
Yep. I would tell people when they sign in, they're gonna ask for payment information, because they're gonna know, just no different than any other doctor, that you have a $20 copay. So they're gonna ask that and charge your card, and you'll be good to go. And then we have some of those flyers that are on there that
I
kind
don't
of
see
promote
this
this
as
a
an
little bit too.
arguable thing.
No.
No,
Or
good
debatable
thing.
thing. Do you, Neil?
Nope.
I don't see anything here in this.
I see no back,
Signs up for it.
Yeah.
If we decide that this is a big mistake a year from now, can we cancel that?
You sure can.
Okay.
Probably in a year from now, we're probably gonna have 2 or 3 other vendors available to you as well that we're just gonna have added in here. These guys were willing to sign a provider contract with us, so they have some credentialing things that they went through, and then they limited to their $40 total allowed charge. You can use this today if you want. If it's not on your plan, it's like $50. It wouldn't run through, see, like, good thing about running through the plan, it goes towards your deductible and out of pocket through your plan. If you did it outside, it's $50, and that's just out there, you pay $50.
You're just out there.
Right.
So, part of my concern or point is some of these things, they don't have to all start on a certain date.
No, they
Doctor
don't.
in demand, we could start
Right.
right away.
Yep, you can start that June 1st if you wanted to.
That's what my preference would be. Is
Yeah.
there any other thoughts?
We can get you the
Nope.
paperwork for that and get that started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Done deal.
We had a student had to go to the hospital in Chicago.
On the trip.
Yeah.
That's, the being away from home is the big.
The other thing on
problem.
tab 5, we'll talk, I think we talked just briefly about it, is Naturally Slim. This is a program that's available to our self-funded clients. It is kind of an eating, metabolic syndrome is kind of, they talk to everybody about how everybody's obese. You know, it doesn't take much to be on the obese category. This kind of helps those people learn how to eat, how to handle food. This is a program that you can make available to a select number of people, or you can make it available to everybody. People participate in this after 10 weeks. If they show some progress and they've lost 3% of their body weight, that's when you get charged the $495 per participant. It's a 52-week program. Basically, they build themselves a little website within Naturally Slim's website, so it's my personal one. I keep track of my weight. If I keep doing well, once I reach that 10-week charge is when they reach out to you, but it continues for 52 weeks. This is something you can run. You can just take those funds out of your healthcare account. It's kind of almost like a wellness program if you want to do it. I've had maybe 20% of my groups decide to do this. Some of them are a little leery and don't want to do it.
So if they do reach their goal, then they charge them for it?
That's when you charge it after 10 weeks. So if you offer it to, say, 50 people sign up for it, and only 10 of them are actually kind of buying into it and doing it, you're only gonna get charged for those 10. Those other ones that kind of phased off, you're not gonna get charged for those folks.
So you only get charged if they meet their goal.
If they have 3% loss in their body weight.
So
After 10
200-pound
weeks.
200-pound person, that'd be 6 pounds.
Yeah.
That's easy to do.
But, you know, it's,
Well, but it's,
Makes sense.
the nice thing about it is you can do it, you know, everybody just had lost some weight first month, you do well. Well, this is a 10-week thing, so if you're still doing it,
The snag is.
right,
the easy stuff comes off easy.
Right, that first month, I mean, sure,
It's
you lose
easy.
10, then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you go back to your eating habits, like, well, then you're not gonna be where you need to be after 10 weeks, so. And this is something you don't have to decide at renewal time. If you want, ACAP is the person that puts this on for us. They can call you and kind of talk you through some things that other groups are doing, how to even set it up. Just give you more information than what I can give you, but that's available to you. You can decide to do that later. You can decide to do it in the fall. You can decide to do it whenever you want to do it.
I'm a little bit reluctant on this one, and maybe it's philosophical. First, argue against myself. I know there's a lot of people in our county who think we need to do something more on wellness, and this would be a step in that direction, so that kind of defeats my philosophy. But on this weight loss thing, I think it's more of an individual thing, and if anybody wanted to do it, there are hundreds and hundreds of ways of losing weight without getting on this particular program. And it measures them at 10 weeks, but at 52 weeks, they could even be bigger than they were before they started. It's just kind of hitting at one point, and being successful at one point doesn't, it's the long-range success that you're after in a weight loss, not the 10 weeks, in my opinion. And it's just my philosophy. You may all
And this
feel
program
differently, so.
doesn't, it's not like a meal plan or anything. They actually talk to you and teach you how to deal with food, and you drink water. I mean, it's a relationship with your food. And there's other groups that I have that have just limited to like 20 people. They want to do a pilot program. Maybe you pick 20 people and you send them an email and say, hey, we've got this pilot program, would you be interested in doing it? Maybe you get 10 of those to sign up. As I would say, if you can keep somebody from taking that next step, becoming a diabetic, at $495 is very cheap compared to $5,000 a month, insulin drug.
I'm going through that right now.
I'm in the same boat, so
And
it's like,
learning how to manage your plate. That's
Yeah.
what it's all about.
Right.
Neil's touched on very similar. It's a self-choice, and it has to be dealing with your own personal plate,
Mhm.
and your relationship with the food.
right. Yep, exactly right. So, I mean, that's another thing that you guys can discuss. You don't have, doesn't have to be done in July, or in July, for July 1. And then we'll go back.
So that
Go
would
ahead.
be, we could add at any time.
You sure can.
Okay.
They haven't taken it off the plate yet. If it comes to where they might take it off, I'll let you guys know that we need to make a decision.
Thank you. Okay.
Now we're gonna go back to tab 4. This is a little bigger discussion. I know we had talked about this. This is Blue Distinction Total Care. This is how we are changing how we provide our pay for providers. In the past, we paid providers just for fee for service. This has given them a little skin in the game. Do you have notes on Blue Distinction Total Care? There's a PowerPoint that goes along with this. This first one is a sample page, what your estimated funding would be. So you're looking at an estimate of between $25,000 and $32,000 annually to fund the incentive to your providers. So when you look at the PowerPoint, Blue Distinction Total Care, Blue Distinction is a Blue Cross Blue Shield association. So the second page in here kind of shows you a little bit about, we're actually going to start paying for value instead of paying for volume. So we're not going to pay for just how people, it's the next page in. We're not going to pay for every service or test that you run. We're going to actually pay for value they perform. So if you could keep the cost down of these patients, as well as keep their health good, you're going to get paid a little bit more. So these physicians have a little skin in the game. I'm going to jump around a little bit. Let's go back. There's several things it talks about the national program. You get in here, page 9 talks about all these other ones that have. Page 8 talks about how other Blue Cross Blue Shield associates. We have ACOs. Those are accountable care organizations. Those are PPOs those are health systems. McFarland Clinic is the one that's gonna affect you guys. You go, the Blues is a little bit ahead of the game. Let's go to page 12. We talked about the key concepts. Attribution, so these are, if a person in your plan, their doctor is at McFarland Clinic, you're gonna be attributed to that doctor at McFarland Clinic. They're a participating ACO. What that means is that doctor now has you, for example, or me, would have me, they would know everything about me, and they're gonna manage my health and the cost of my care. They would know everything about me, so they're gonna have access to, if I go to the chiropractor, if I get a drug from the chiropractor, I go to the dermatologist, they know everything about me. Today's world, they only know if you come to McFarland Clinic. They don't know every drug that you're on. Under this attribution, they're gonna have a little more skin in the game. We're gonna give them access to all that information about you.
I thought they did it now.
They should not have everything about it now.
I thought that was a state deal. Where that wherever you are to go to doctor, they can pull that information up.
Well, I think they can know everything about the health system that they're part of, if you go to another doctor, but they wouldn't know if you go to the chiropractor, if you went to the ER a week ago, or any of those kind of things. They should not have access to
Because all your
that.
immunization shots are recorded, that they know if you.
Yeah,
had
some of
one or
those
not.
things are shared, yes. But if you go to the ER, or if you had, maybe even gone to the chiropractor a few times, they would know that, but they are gonna know that now.
I thought that was available, information was available from all now. I might be wrong.
Yeah, there's some things that are, but I don't think if you go to the ER, if you're going to somebody else for, maybe you're having a depression or something you're going to, they wouldn't know that, but now they will. They'll know everything about you. They'll manage that care. So there's some reporting, performance-based in here. We just had a meeting the other day, and they talked about all these ACOs. And they basically reward them for not only managing the health of their members, so they're attributed, they also look at their trend. Trend being the cost of care for that block of business from one year to the next. Wellmark's trend today is about 9%. So that's a threshold. If you can beat that, they get paid a little bit more. If they can actually reach trend at CPI, which is running about 2%, they can keep it below CPI, they get rewarded for keeping their trend below CPI. There's only one ACO that met that category, and McFarland Clinic is that one. So the one thing that you guys are gonna have is, you're gonna have the best ACO that's currently performing today, so. Go in here, let's go, page 18, kind of shows you, currently we have, the last 3 years, our fully insured block is currently under the ACO of Blue Distinction Total Care. So you have a little bit of a spike at the beginning of what your claims are, but then they do level off and they kind of grow at a little lesser pace than a non-ACO, just because the providers have a little more skin in the game. You've heard, kind of now with Congress and stuff, they're talking about some of this environment too, to kind of get the providers into the mix with ACA and Affordable Care Act. Kind of how they change how we pay providers.
Is that spike due to our initial contribution, or what is it from?
Well, some of that is you're paying, and all of a sudden the doctor's gonna grab onto you. Maybe they're gonna run some tests, or they're gonna wanna, you haven't been in for a while, they're gonna ask you to come in for your routine physical. Some of that stuff it's gonna cost you, but doesn't cost the employee anything for that plan. So there's gonna be some things they're gonna wanna get a hold of those people for, but then it'll curve back down. So it has nothing to do with your costs going in, it's just the doctor is now gonna start reaching out.
At the beginning, we talked about this, you said it'd be $26,000 to $32,000 investment in our fund to do this. Is that included in that chart there?
That would be, yes,
Okay.
yes.
And does that all have to be upfront?
Nope, and you pay on a monthly basis. It kind of changes. Let's go a couple more pages in here.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's go all the way to page 23. Well, 22 first. Let's go look at 22. This is a diagram of your employees, your members, and their health. As we always talk about when I come here, we have several people that never use the plan at all. And then you have some people that are really healthy, you never worry about them. Where this really kind of takes a hold is those acute, the single chronics, the double chronics, and the triple chronics. We can't help those catastrophic cases or somebody has cancer, that's gonna happen. But if they can keep Clark from becoming a high blood pressure, I have high cholesterol, so if they can keep me from becoming a diabetic, they're gonna get rewarded for that. If I become a diabetic and I move down to a double chronic or a triple chronic, their scorecard is going down, because they need to coach me up. They're gonna have some skin in the game if they can't do that. You look down here at this bottom, these are our ACOs, where everybody, you have 180 people today that are attributed to the McFarland Clinic. Those are members, not just employees. They would all be attributed to the McFarland Clinic. So on a monthly basis, we look at that. There could be some people that all of a sudden they start going to a different doctor, they will no longer be attributed to them. Or there'll be some new people that all of a sudden they go to the doctor and they start going to the McFarland Clinic 2 months down the road, they're gonna be attributed to the McFarland Clinic. So that number could change on a monthly basis, but you will just be charged. When you look back here at that first page, it is $13.07 per member. That's what you'll be charged for each member, and that's a range because we don't know if it's gonna be 180, 170, 200 on a certain given month. But it shouldn't change too much from that 180.
I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, that this isn't all or none. If we go to blue distinction, everybody's on it, or is it a person-to-person decision?
It kind of depends on this, there's 180 people here that are gonna be impacted.
So those 180 people, which is, maybe 90 families or probably not
I
that
think,
many, probably
yeah,
not
when
that
you
many.
look back, this page, I think there's 57% of your group that is.
57,
yeah.
so it would affect 57%.
Right.
That's how many use McFarland.
Yep.
And the others do not have access to it.
They wouldn't, nobody would even know that this was going on except for the people that are attributed. Why is the doctor calling me now and checking up on me because I went to the ER, or checking up on me because I haven't seen you for a while, will you come on in? They're gonna have a little more skin in the game. Those McFarland people are gonna know who those 57% are. They're gonna know that that person is attributed to Carroll County.
And they learn about that through the insurance claims.
Yeah, we let them know that this person's attributed. So the example that you just talked about getting into the doctor before 5 o'clock. The Blues Association in Illinois told us about the ACOs there. They actually can see, and they will be here too, that they can see that someone's calling in that they're a attributed member. They also can put little flags in their system saying, this person goes to the ER 15 times a year, because if they can't get into the doctor's office, they take their kid to the ER, and they will make sure they can get into the doctor's office.
Very briefly.
Yep.
How does this work in with HIPAA? Because my doctor knows that I went to somebody else or something else, and that's pretty private information, but they know about the insurance. Does the employee have to sign off on that?
Mm-mm. No.
Okay, it just doesn't sound right to me.
It doesn't.
But
You're right.
It sounds like they're giving information that they shouldn't, but, okay, I'm sure it's all according to oil somewhere.
Yeah, no, I'm sure our attorneys have all,
Yeah,
dotted their
yeah.
i's and t's and
Oh,
yes.
That's the short answer, thank you.
Yes. I mean, it's gonna be uncomfortable for some of them are not even gonna know, this is happening. But it's gonna probably be better off for each person, because if I'm taking a drug that this doctor doesn't even know that I'm taking, maybe there's, we can take one drug instead of 2 drugs. Maybe, these drugs are counteracting each other, you just don't know that, but if one person has the full skin in the game, they're gonna be able to learn all that information. Okay? So this is something that would need to be decided upon.
That's a June 1st decision. this
Yes.
one.
When you look at page 24, they anticipate with McFarland Clinic that you would get almost 1.5 times your money back. So whatever you spend, you're gonna get money back on loss or lower claim costs.
If we did something like this, and then we come into next year, could you show the county?
I can't show you how your county's running,
Okay.
dollar for dollar, but I can show you how McFarland Clinic is running, and you're gonna be a part of that McFarland Clinic. We're not capable right now to pull it out and take your 180 and
I
these
was just
people's
curious.
60 and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, so.
Okay.
Not saying that won't happen in the future. But right
You
now,
can't measure it at all.
We can measure it as at an ACO level, not to the membership itself. Because you're talking, I think McFarland Clinic probably has, I don't know, 100,000 people that are gonna be attributed to them through Wellmark.
But if you could tell the county how McFarland does, then we could have a rough idea of the
Absolutely.
money that it was saving.
Right. And McFarland is the best we have at the moment. They're running the best. Not saying that won't change. You just never know. Like I said today, this is an option for you. You can participate or not. These are your claim dollars, so that's why we're giving you the option. Other states, other Blues Association, it's not an option to you. It's just part of your claim cost. We just throw it into your fixed cost, and you're participating. Not
So-
saying that won't happen in a few years. I don't know how we're gonna do that, but right now, it's an option for you.
I'm not, my figures aren't adding up. Last time you were here, I wrote down a figure that you thought would save us, and that's much greater than 1.5 times our investment. Did I get that wrong, or do I? That's the note I had from,
Mm.
that was from your January 23rd visit here. I had written down to save $127,000. Did I get something wrong there?
That could have been, I don't know. I mean, if you're looking at, maybe you were looking at this first page, around 27,000. Then you'd get 1.5 times that. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know where I would've got that big a number, but you should have,
Okay,
If
I'll
you look
cross
here,
that
yeah,
number
you
off.
look here, you should probably be saving, an estimate savings of, 1.5 times that, so.
I'm gonna kill that figure then.
That's just
Okay.
thinking the younger generation, like.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's a no-brainer if you spend 26. That's
Why I highlighted it, that's why I had it highlighted here.
You're like, wow, did he really say that? And if I did, I apologize if I did.
Earlier started.
May have been a misunderstanding, glad we got it
Yeah.
clarified either way.
And I think that's.
Yep.
Part of talking about. That's part, yeah, and it's getting those guys.
So what do you guys think on this?
When you're 26 years old.
Well, it's almost a philosophy change, as I would say, it's not just dollar for dollar, it's, okay, we're trying to change what we've been doing for the last 30 years, we just pay for service, and everybody gets an 8 to a 10% increase over time. We're trying to get the doctors involved in this.
Well, I'm okay with it. I think it could be quite beneficial to some of our people by having a doctor that's got the full story. I had questioned the HIPAA part, but that's beyond my legal expertise, so I'm not gonna worry about that. And statistically, we're gonna come out ahead too.
Yeah, if we can get that person, Rich and I had a little bit of discussion about it, if you can get that person that doesn't go to the doctor very often, but does go, and then does create a history, maybe you can, I have a relationship with my doctor, so I go, and I don't know if he can help me much more than what he's helping me today.
Yeah.
Is that true to say,
This is true, I mean, he can guide you down the path, he can't make you drink the water.
Right, but I mean, if there's that,
It's the 30-year-old person that goes when there's something drastically wrong,
Mhm.
then look, nickel and dimers, they probably don't go. But when they go, then they also will establish a blood workup and things like that they normally don't get.
Right.
Which gives them a chart say, look, now your A1C is starting to rise.
Right.
It's easier to get it now than it is 20 years from now.
Right, exactly.
so like you, Courtney, you've got, is it your wellness programs this week, is that correct?
They're doing a blood draw.
Blood draw.
Tomorrow and the next.
Right, so, do you have fairly good participation in that?
It gets they used to do more in the testing process, and we had good, the more they take away and allow them to do the public health, the less participation we get. Like, this year, they wouldn't allow for the PSA testing.
Right.
Why is that?
That's
Has
been
to do
getting
with the
dropped a lot of
hospital.
places. Has to do with what?
The hospital.
Okay.
So
'Cause that's
we-
why I didn't have it
We do a blood
done
draw
here.
every year,
Mhm.
and then, people get their results, and then they're supposed to bring them to the doctor.
Mm.
But we do have good participation, and I know there's some people that don't ever go to the doctor, that when they got their blood work done, that there was something on there, and then that made them go in, and so that was part of our wellness, but they've taken stuff away that they offer, so, I don't know.
I have a question for you, Courtney. If we would approve this, it would cost us something, and that money come out of our insurance pool.
They
And
come
it
out
wasn't,
with,
I
like,
mean,
premiums.
we did not budget for it either.
Yeah, it'd come out of that fund 8,500 that's not budgeted. It would be part of our premium.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, I think if you can prevent.
You get those
Get some
folks
people
like you
there
guys have
sooner.
talked about, maybe went to the doctor, established a relationship a year ago. Maybe they're attributed because they were there a year ago. The doctor will probably reach out to them and say, hey, you haven't had a physical for a while, why don't you come in and have a physical? No cost to you, it's gonna cost the plan, you know, $100, $200, that's where you see a little bit of that spike. But they want to build a relationship with the patient, not only the patient building it with the doctor.
That spike will just be there at the beginning.
At the beginning, because they
At the
might be
onset.
asking you to do some things that you haven't done before.
Right.
Yes. Get you engaged in your health.
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it too.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
that one.
They're always good to get me in there, so.
You guys aren't that worried about it, so the other guys don't want to go. Okay, and then we had some things regarding your plan, going to facets. Now we're gonna go back to tab 3. We'll try to get through here, as we're coming in, I'll try to get you through here as fast as I can here. There's an alternate tab, so let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, it's the 5th page in. So moving to facets, they are trying to kind of standardize, it should be an alternate page, should say alternate on the top. Yep, you're fine right there. So what we did is we actually just ran a couple things that are gonna change on your plan, or we'd like to change, they don't have to change. That would work a little bit better in our new claim system compared to our old. So if you go a couple more pages, this is actually the compare where you look at some things that we're talking about changing. So we talked about deductibles, you currently have a 4th quarter carryover, so if somebody meets some services in the 4th quarter, that deductible actually will roll over to the next year as well. You can take that out if you like, you can leave it in. Common accident deductible is another thing that's on there, under the deductible. You currently have that in your plan, it rarely happens. That's if you have members that are involved in a common accident, there'd only be one deductible taken out. Rarely happens, so they didn't move that to our new claim system. You can keep it in if you want. It would just be a manual process that we would have to do that. Right below that is no Wellmark to Wellmark credit. Currently under your plan today, if you hire somebody that, say, comes from Farner-Bakken or something that has Wellmark insurance, they would get credit for their deductible that they have with, if they had Wellmark insurance, to the county's insurance. Very few people are leaving that in, they're taking it out because it only affects the new hires. Who's gonna not take the job because of their $222 is not gonna carry over. You go down a little bit farther to the co-pays. Currently, we have it set up, when you look over on the left, that an office visit copay is taken once per date of service. Now, when you're looking at some of these McFarland clinics, there could be multiple different people inside that office that do different things, specialize. So if you have it's one office visit copay per practitioner per day. So if you just go into the regular doctor, you just do one thing, but if he sends you over to a specialist, and today you would only be one copay, they would get able to see 2 doctors for the price of one. Now, they would pay another copay if they go to another doctor. Okay? And the same thing with your out-of-pocket. Another thing on the bottom is this skilled nursing facilities. Today, we have it limited to 90 days. It's over on the bottom on the left. They would like to remove that and make it unlimited. The reason being, hardly anybody ever gets to the 90 days. And if they do get kicked out of the skilled nursing facility, you know what happens? They go back to the hospital. You'd rather pay the skilled nursing facility instead of the hospital. So they just take that limitation out. They're still being care managed and all that kind of stuff, make sure it's medical necessary. So you just take that limit out. You can leave it in if you want. These are just options we would like to clean up to go to the new system, but you don't have to make any of these changes. This impacts your rates just slightly, we'll lower it just a little bit. fourth quarter carryover will lower it a little bit. The no well-marked to well-marked doesn't really affect it any. The office visit affects it just slightly. The no limit, from because you were at 90 days to a no limit, might actually increase it just a little bit.
But ultimately, if somebody did have to go back to the hospital, it'd cost us in the end.
Yeah,
Yes, it
that's
would.
significantly.
Yeah, it's 3 times probably the cost of a skilled nursing facility.
Yeah, it's insurance, how do you know?
Right. And those are just some things you can decide. If you want to do one of these or all of them, that's totally up to you. We need to decide that by, the 15th or before June 1st.
You ain't got to post a note, do you?
No, I don't.
I need to get some in
So
here.
now, you're saying this, on this carryover, currently we cannot carry over, right?
Currently, you do.
Oh, but it's-
Currently, if somebody in the fourth quarter, say somebody in November has something happen to them and they have to pay $100 towards their deductible,
Neil, could I have one of those?
that $100 would actually carry over in January and would lower their
So,
deductible too.
with
So-
this, it would not.
I had the same
It would
idea, we
not.
couldn't find it over
Right.
here, though.
And I don't think
That's a good
anybody's
idea.
holding things off to do that, but this would limit them. You guys got a low enough deductible already?
Mhm.
Do you need to lower it any longer, or any more? I don't know, but. Any other questions about that?
Page was that? What page?
I did not have page number.
It's like 5 pages into the alternate section,
Tab 3.
tab 3. Knew I should have printed that stuff off.
I got it here.
There's one last thing, and I did print this off.
So, under this, there's like 4 different options we can pick and choose, is that right?
Well, each one of those affects the deductible. One affects the copay, one affects the out-of-pocket, and one's facility services. You can pick and choose any one of
We
those.
can take one, but we don't have to take
Yeah,
the other
usually,
three.
typically, if you do the no Walmart to Walmart, you would want to do the deductible and the out-of-pocket. Fourth quarter carryover is only deductible. It does not affect your out-of-pocket, so you don't have that today.
And Walmart would like us to make all these changes, correct?
That would be nice, just to kind of, you don't have to, but it would just clean up your plan. That would work better in facets. And then one last thing, we ran some high deductible health plans with HSAs.
Oh.
I think somebody requested, wanted to see that.
Mhm.
Okay, here it is. I don't know if she showed you when I sent it to her, but what I did with this is your, first 2 columns is your current 2 offerings. You have the $1,500 plan and the $750 plan. So those are your 2 offerings. I ran you a high deductible health plan with a $2,000 deductible and out-of-pocket that can be run with an HSA, and that's the 3rd column. And then I also ran you another one that has a $2,000 deductible, but it has a $4,000 out-of-pocket, so it has some co-insurance in between. Now, keep in mind, now, how much do you know about high deductible health plans and regular plans? There's no co-pays, everything, you have to meet that $2,000 deductible before anything is paid. So the big key is what I tell all the employees, it's a drug card, it's the big deal, because right now, today you have a $15 copay and a $30 copay. When you go to the drug or the pharmacy with a high deductible health plan, it is the total allowed charge. So it could be $240, it could be $300, it could be $4,000. Kind of depends on what drug you're taking. People need to know that. So I would tell people that it's always for the real healthy ones, and it's for the really sick ones. The ones in the middle, you gotta do a little research to see if it fits your, your budget and your health. So, but it is a nice little option on the second page. Kinda shows you the rates. So when you look at the rates for your $1,500 plan, you got a suggested rate of $601 for the employee. For the $1,500 plan, you have a $545. For that $2,000 high deductible health plan, you have a $515. And then the 2,000, 4,000 high deductible health plan is at $458. So there is some premium savings, where you can take the premium savings and put that right into a HSA account. They can pay for some of the differences in the cost that's gonna
Mhm.
happen, so.
What do you see? I mean, you've been around the arrangements before.
Yeah, and typically on a situation like you guys, because you have pretty rich plans, I would tell you that $2,000 plan is probably the way to go, just so it's not a big jump for people. But you do have access to an HSA that you can fund those funds. I don't have very many employers that actually contribute to those funds. I've had some that will, the first year that you move over, they might give you $400 or $500 to kind of get you started.
Mhm.
After that, you're on your own. But keep in mind, once you give them those dollars, it's their dollars. You have
Right,
no more control over
absolutely.
that,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So if they want to, take that out, and buy a new TV, they can do that. They just have to pay the taxes and the penalty to take that $500 out. Correct. So, I mean, you have no control over what they do with it. Hopefully, no one's thinking that. But that's an option as well to kind of get some people over. Or you can set up your contributions, or maybe you give better contributions for an HSA to make it a little more enticing for people that like that plan.
The one I was involved with before, it was kind of a 2-year deal. If you didn't have a major problem the first 2 years, you came out on the high end of the stick. And if you didn't, it was costly. But you just kind of like start over those 2 years all over again.
Right.
You never, but we were, it was like a $750 and the deductible was $1,500. So essentially you went from a $750 deductible plan to a $1,500, which looks like a lot.
Right.
But when someone's handing you $750,
Right.
it's still the same basis you were started with the exception if you have to start paying those deductibles first.
Right.
And then work from that point.
Yeah, it's usually the drug card that usually gets people upset because it's a big change when you go in and find out your drug's $400 and you have to pay $400 to get your drugs. But when you look at it, not only if you give them money or your situation, but you're no longer paying taxes on that money either, so that $2,000 deductible is now $1,500 deductible, because you're not paying taxes on that $2,000 if you fund it.
Right. And then, now, correct me if I'm wrong, that money you can keep in an HSA for forever.
You can, yep.
And when you retire or you go someplace else, as long as it's a medical expense, or even when you're currently employed, you can use it for dental, if you do not have a dental supplement, or
That's correct.
or any of those other little
Vision,
supplements,
vision, yeah.
you can use it for as long as it's a medical expense.
Right.
You can use that money and
Right.
take it back out of that account.
Correct. Yeah, they have a list of eligible expenses. I don't know if chiropractors and some of those are on that list, but I think it's 14 or 413D, or it's the IRS
Yeah,
has,
yeah.
no different than a flexible spending account. It's basically the same list.
Yeah.
All those eligible expenses that you can take it out on. Now, keep in mind, if you can just roll those funds from one year to year, and all of a sudden you leave, or you decide to go back to one of these other plans, because you didn't like it, you went back to these other plans, you have $2,000 sitting there, that's still your $2,000 you can spend on co-pays. You just can no longer contribute to that plan, HSA. You can use it to spend on your expenses. Your spouse or your child has an expense, as long as it's a qualified expense, you can use those funds to pay for one of those as well, so.
And there, as you said, one of the positive was that it is tax deductible.
Oh, that's the
So
biggest.
you can go
Positive,
up
yes.
to 56
Well, I think
something,
as
56,
a
50.
single, I think it's $3,400 you can put in there. If you're over age 55, you get to add another $1,000.
Yeah.
And then I think a family's $6,800, add another $1,000 for a family too, so over 55.
No.
And if you decide to do this, you currently offer these first two plans. We can add a third plan. If you want to add a third plan, I would be able to come out and we can have some meetings if people had questions regarding, maybe I want to do this. I can talk and answer questions on some of the scenarios. They can do that.
If you come out, do you pick like 2 or 3 different
not employees' names, but employee situations, and then say, this is your comparable, and then they can sit in there and say, I'm pretty close to that.
We have some things that can talk about, you know, John Doe, you know, or Jane, or whatever, this is their scenario, and you can kind of see how, we have some marketing pieces that we can give you to that too. But yeah, we can definitely do that. I have a PowerPoint that can talk about how claims are paid today and how would we be paid under a high deductible health plan. You know, no different than your $20 copay. Instead of that $20 copay, it's $140 to go to the McFarland Clinic, it's gonna cost you $140.
One more quick question. Do you have a formula that tells us if I would move to this HSA, what do I save the county? I will save them X number of dollars
You
per
might
year?
not, you might not save them anything.
Okay.
Kind of depends, because you never know on your health situation what happens.
Well, what I'm
But
headed
what
for.
it does, today, everybody uses their health care. Like I just talked about your copays, your $15, your $20 copay, that's what you do. Now you're gonna become a consumer, because now you're gonna say, oh, that's $140. I might call Doctors on Demand, because it cost me $40 instead of that $140, because that's gonna come out of my pocket.
Mhm.
So it just changes the behavior of some of the folks, which eventually will help the county.
I guess what I'm looking for as an incentive to get you to do it, I have to recognize enough savings in order to offer that.
Right.
So is there a formula that
Well,
we
when
can
you see the
find?
premium savings, you can kind of see the premium
Okay.
savings, what you're looking at,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, all right.
Because your portion of the premium savings is gonna be lower than
Correct.
the 750 plan.
Okay. And that is a startable at the beginning of the year basis
You
type.
can do that July 1st if you like. Anybody that switches July 1st, if you met, say, $750 over here on this plan, that would transfer over to this plan, so that if you met it already, your deductible now is, you know, the $1,250 instead of, you know, $2,000.
There's no cost to the county to have the additional.
No, there
plan.
is not. Typically, what underwriting does is they tell you, if you don't have 10% in this plan, next year they might tell you, we're gonna eliminate that plan. So this year, if you only get one or two, it's not a problem. Next year, we might get some more, but if it continues, you only have one or two, they might tell you, we wanna get rid of this plan. Okay.
Who maintains the health savings account to the county?
And you have nothing to do with it except for contributions. So if
The employee does
they
that.
come to a county and they wanna say that I wanna take this $50 savings, and I wanna just put that pre-tax into whatever the local bank is here that you wanna do it, or we have some vendors too, but usually it's a local bank.
I think several of them here do it.
Yeah, that they would just, you can do it pre-tax, or you can do it post-tax. I would tell everybody, if you elect a high deductible health plan, to make sure your HSA is open. Doesn't have to be funded fully, needs to be funded just so it stays open. And if something happens to me, I break my leg, or whatever happens, I have a $3,000 bill, I can take money out of my savings account, put it in the HSA, take it right back out, and now that's tax-free money.
Mhm.
But it has to be open.
That's right.
That's right. No
You have
different.
to fund it initially.
Well, yeah, it doesn't have to be funded, it just needs to be
Be
open.
open.
Yes. Not like a flexible spending account where I gotta decide, I need $1,500 to put it in there, and now I gotta have expenses to pay
Pay
it.
it.
I can do it the other way if I wanted to, have expenses, then put the money in there.
Oh, really?
But it has to be open. Because if something happens to it and you haven't had it open, and you go open, it's no different than not having car insurance, and you wanna go get your car insurance after your car got stolen, too late.
But like a flexible spending account, you can use this for glasses and for
Yep.
anything.
Yep.
Dental.
Dental, yep. Yep, exactly.
Stays with you forever. That's what I.
I would tell people, if you had a flexible spending account, you had access to it, you can make it a limited purpose, it would just be for dental and vision, and then this would be for medical, or dental and vision. Because if I knew that every year I spent $400 on glasses or contact lenses, I'm gonna put that in a flexible spending account, because I know I'm gonna put it in, take it right back out. Let this other stuff kind of run for the unforeseen medical stuff. Gives you access to put more money in.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Did I answer all your questions?
It's a lot
And then
clearer
some.
now.
Yeah.
Did we cross some of those things off your list?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right.
All right, thanks, Clay.
Thanks a lot.
very much.
Yeah, let me know next couple of weeks, we'll get the paperwork to you. Do what you want to do.
your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot,
You
Shannon.
bet.
Morning.
Morning. Shannon.
I just came with an update. I haven't visited for a while, so I thought I'd stop in and kind of let you know what we're up to at CDC and update on a few projects. Just working through my notes. Thanks to those of you that were able to make the Western Iowa Advantage Banquet. We had a smaller turnout, but our speaker, we felt like, did a good job, and we were able to kind of highlight some of the things we worked on. Chuck Fluharty, we thought, did an excellent job, so we're looking to have him come out again, maybe in September, invite the municipalities, the county, try to get a good group to talk about, or to come hear him talk about quality of place and some of the things he's talking about with the urban, rural, and, you know, some of the things we need to do to prepare ourselves to be positioned well for growth going into the future. So, thought that was a good presentation he made. Another thing that we're really working on is the employment. We had worked with the Employers Council or HR Council in Carroll County to put together a survey to try to do a good job of understanding what positions are out there, the education level they require, you know, what positions our employers are most often hiring for, and kind of learn about some of their challenges as well as their methods of marketing, what jobs are open, and try to kind of look for some gaps and some things that we could do to offer some support. So right now, what we're doing is working on kind of the marketing pieces that we're going to use for employee recruitment. And keep in mind, you know, the place that we feel CDC has in that conversation is not replacing any of the local marketing methods, but, you know, people recruitment beyond Carroll County and maybe beyond Iowa is where we really feel like there's a void. So we have on our website the ability to do job postings that feed right into a mobile app. So if we would see a situation in Des Moines or Austin, Texas, or wherever, you know, we can quickly put some pieces out there to say visit carrollcountyjobs.com and point people right in that direction of those postings. So again, we're not trying to replace, you know, IWD, local news, radio, et cetera, but we're offering an opportunity to promote Carroll County positions well outside of our region. So again, we're kind of just getting started with that and the marketing of that ability, but it'll be something that we can help out with in terms of the employment piece. Also, we're really working with the schools, trying to understand some of what they're doing in terms of those technical type of positions or trade positions. Most recently, we've had a group of students work with both Soy Plus and ICP to kind of understand those careers, see that it's not, as we've heard 1,000 times, it's not dirty work. You know, it's skilled work, it's a good career to have, along with some of the other trades and apprenticeships that IWD is doing. So we feel like that's a way that we can try to connect students with maybe that career path as they start making their plans. Housing is still another pretty important topic that we have going on. You've maybe seen the announcement of the tax credit allocation being awarded for, or application being awarded for both Manning and Carroll. So what that did is allow developers in Manning and Carroll the ability to apply to build on greenfield sites. Any lot that may be available in any community is eligible as long as it meets the guidelines on redevelopment lots. But in order to tear up new ground that hadn't previously been used for housing, you had to have this certification. Since then, though, the state has awarded, or there was a tax credit bill in place to allocate an additional $5 million of tax credits eligible for communities in counties not including the 11 most populated. So essentially, it's more rural focused. There are a couple of changes that were proposed, and I haven't seen the announcement out of IWD. I know it was approved, the extra $5 million, but what they were pushing for is to decrease the number of units from 4 to 2. So, you know, as a Coon Rapids or even a Litterdale may have a developer, you know, it's easier to put up those 2 spec units versus 4. Eliminate the need for that application to build on greenfield sites. So again, we feel like those will be pretty helpful components for the rural communities. Manning is staying pretty busy. They've got a couple developers they're working with. You've probably seen that they opened up some lots, and They have one developer out of Ankeny kind of taking a look at some spec units and, not putting up prefab homes, but they have the ability with the volume to do homes pretty quickly to get some units built. So, again, we're working on the marketing of that, getting our website up, and really having all of the opportunities for building in Carroll County on one web page. So as developers outside may look at doing some single-family homes, they have all that information available. Also, the CADC website we've been working on for longer than we'd like to admit, but May 9th, our board will review that. We've tried to just really update, streamline, get good information for those business projects. Talk about kind of highlighting the features of Carroll County, again, with housing and employment being pretty big topics here. We want to make sure that those are really focused and centralized so that we can just point right to those pages in our marketing materials. We've hired Sarah Foley to come onto our team. Sarah's been at the Manning Hospital, does a phenomenal job, so we're really excited to bring her in. And again, with everything marketing, she has such a good opinion to lend, and I feel we're very fortunate to have had her apply, and that she has been on our chamber board, and she kind of understands, maybe to a further extent, some of the things that we do and the why we do it and try to solve Carroll County, so we're excited with that. Access Washington is coming up here. We're about a month out already. It's coming quickly. We're going earlier in June, so the 6th and 7th will be our meeting dates. We have a good group, about 10 going again. We have a couple of youth that are joining us. Dr. Jensen's son is coming with us, and Rick Hunsaker's niece will be joining us to sit in on the meetings and see that whole process. But our topics are pretty good, a little more policy focused than they have been in the past versus business focused. The new administration has brought some question marks, so it's kind of hard to know where those policies will land, but we're trying to also be a little bit flexible so that if there is policy that comes out between now and then, we are prepared and able to bring that up. But some of our topics that we're bringing forward is Medicaid reimbursements in the situation of New Hope, where we're talking about individuals with disabilities that aren't otherwise able to be self-sustaining. We're bringing both the wastewater copper limits and transportation from the city. St. Anthony will also bring their rural hospital program again that had been approved, had not been funded, and now there's still some questions. So Ed Smith will be joining us to bring that with us. We're going to talk a little bit about EDA funding and CDBG. As has been pitched as potentially a place where funds will be cut. We haven't seen anything permanent, but CDBG is such an important tool for us here with infrastructure projects in rural communities. So we want to make sure that we have that going forward. Talk a little bit about healthcare, also the trade with corn. We feel like that's pretty important that the administration understands the impacts of some of the trade discussions when we talk about Carroll County. So we've been putting together a lot of research in terms of primary and then induced impacts of some of the changes with New Hope, as well as with our trade. The jobs, the employment, what continents our Carroll County products are touching is just unfathomable, really. So want to make sure that our delegation really understands how important that is to Carroll County business. So again, that's coming up June 6th and 7th. We're trying to get that all set up. Project work, we have a couple vacant buildings that we're trying to promote here, and recently announced vacant buildings included the retail discussion. And we have a couple expansions as well. Woodardale has seen a little bit of addition in equipment. We've seen projects really throughout the county, so it's good to see some of the expansion going on. And then also, nothing definite, but we are trying to get that very last legislative forum rescheduled according to Best and Segabart's schedules, just to kind of have a wrap up on the session and where things concluded, including their feelings on what bills they'd like to still bring forward and work on next session. So as soon as we know that, I know Megan was working on it as I left. She wanted to have it ready for the 11 a.m. newspaper deadline for the countywide papers. So I would say if not today, tomorrow, certainly we'll have that scheduled. So that's kind of a quick rundown. I know we've got plenty on the agenda, but certainly let me have any questions you may have. Gene, am I missing anything?
Not that there's been a lot of stuff going on in the county. It's been really busy.
Yeah. Good stuff though.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff.
gotta go through a lot of things really fast. One thing
Yeah.
you did touch on was housing and some of these tax credits. And I know there's another housing committee or something going on. How does that relate, complement, or work with the housing survey that we previously
Mhm.
participated in?
So the
What's
committee, the CADC committee really is kind of kicking rocks and trying to understand some of the programs that are out there. We've met with Rick and Carla from Region 12, have kind of talked about their CDBG program. They were going to be applying, and I was at the city Monday, that's gonna be put into next cycle, but applying for more funding for owner-occupied rehab and things such as that. We haven't met, that group hasn't met since early March. One project that they were working on had to do with an existing facility, multifamily facility, and trying to kind of look into maybe some of the challenges there and how CADC, how the city, the county can maybe be partners in trying to improve that situation. So, essentially that's been kind of a research component, but haven't seen much come out of there other than, like I said, that tax credit application. So, yeah. Manning, like I said, Manning has the developers that they've met with to try to look at some single-family as well as multifamily options. So it's really been fun to watch how each community has kind of taken their own approach with the housing. And, we've talked to a developer recently, or one of the basement companies that said this year they have 40 basements just in the immediate area. So certainly, I can't say that's a direct result, but I think it's kind of helped to put some of that confidence in place that there is a market. And, when we look at the building permit data just in the early 2010s, I don't know if that's the right word for that, we'd seen years that Carroll had seen 10 to 12 building permits in total. And so now to think that we're closer to 40, I think that's a good sign. So I guess otherwise, tomorrow at 4 o'clock, the bank, Commercial Savings is having their groundbreaking, so certainly we'd love to have you guys attend if you can at 4 o'clock. It's another exciting project, so.
I just heard on the radio where at Milford, Iowa, there's gonna be a lot of people who are going to be laid off, or I think they'll have the option of moving to other places. Is there any way to approach a group like that? I drive by Pella and see their eyes offering jobs. It would be a similar type of work. Maybe there'd be a possibility to capture some of those employees
Right.
to come to our community.
So, absolutely. With respect to those communities and what they're facing, if we flip the coin and put us in that position, what we try to do is make pretty personalized and direct contacts, so that we're not just blatantly saying, hey, abandon your community, come to us. But what we're, with the mobile app and the things that we're putting in place, it just makes it an option, to say, hey, we're a great community on the site, we've got all the amenities that we have to offer, so that, we have looked at direct mail opportunities as well as newspaper postings, but also just some really personalized marketing through social media to say, hey, here's some opportunities in Carroll. And certainly, given the opportunity through IWD, we would be there if we have the chance. So show up in town, tell them what we've got to offer. So, yeah.
Any other questions for Shannon?
No.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks
you
having me.
for the update, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anytime.
We,
Come back and see us again.
Like we said, there's just so many pretty exciting things going on. You look at the counties, or the communities throughout the county, and there really isn't a corner unturned that isn't seeing something pretty cool going on, so we're very fortunate that way.
To keep
Yes.
you going.
Yes, exactly. So you guys have a nice, cool day.
Well,
Goodness.
Winter, yeah.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yes,
Thanks,
you're
Shannon.
welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon.
Okay, let's get back to the discussion in regard to the Fricky building. Neil?
Yeah, we've had some interest in perhaps renting a couple of offices in the Fricky building, and we had a lot of questions. It's an entity that would go well with the current people in the building. It's in the human services field, I can say that quite clearly. But before we can get back to them with any information, we've had a lot of changes there with the managed,
Case management.
Yeah, case management has really changed there, and there may be some shuffling of people in the building and everything. And what I wanted to do, or we wanted to do today, was come over there and talk to you guys and ask if any current people needed to move or wanted to move and that type of thing, so we know kind of how it's all gonna land. And you come here, and that's fine. So that's the situation. We've had some interest, and I just want to kind of get it opened up, even if this potential lead does not work out at all. I want to be able to know from here on out what is going to be available and what isn't, where each of you really should be positioned and that type of thing. Right now, there's a lot of unknowns, and we need to answer some of those questions before we can answer any other questions or talk to a realtor or anything like that. So, I'll just,
Right now, you've got what, one individual's looking at one office or something?
2 to 3 offices with one, that's actually, they're together, I guess. It's yeah, there's one service that wants like 2 or 3 offices. Yeah,
And they'll have
I
clients are coming in,
Yes, they will.
and
And
so
they would
there'll be a
need to-
receptionist type of individual there, and
They would need to use have the north entrance available because some of their clients would not want to be using the steps.
Steps.
And they need some confidentiality, they like the location, I think. But
Okay.
hard to even communicate when I'm not sure if there's going to be any shuffling or anything. So I need to ask the people who are in the building, how are things working out? Would you be better off in a different part of the building? I just need to know how it's going to land or end up, so we know what space is available. It may be space that's you're occupying now that may be available, and maybe you want to stay right where you are. Any comments from any of you? We're going to come over there and talk to you, but you're here, that's fine.
yeah, if you want to make some comments here, or we can make them over there too. I mean, it doesn't make any difference.
We can just go over there and discuss it.
Because
Yeah.
I didn't have any intent on saying, Louis, you go there, you go there, you go there. It's just a discussion we need to have, so we
Yeah.
know how
Well,
it's.
we're kind of letting you know that we've got some potential interest again. Like I told you, you guys questioned me here a while back. We're trying to keep you in a loop, so.
And
We want
even,
to make it work what's best for everybody.
Sure.
and even further down the road, if a different client would come in and say, hey, I want 1 office, or I want 5 offices, or whatever, where will they be? Say, well, maybe somebody's gonna move, I can't tell you. We need to answer those questions.
Yeah, and we've done some changes, so why don't we have you guys come on over and then we can.
We'd
talk
understand
about
it better if we could
I
have
think
it in
so.
front of us, I think.
So that'd be great.
Rosie.
Why don't you guys come on over?
Okay.
Well, and I invited him here because my fear was we'd all talk about this and they weren't here to,
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I really need to see the square footage, see exactly what we're talking
Yeah.
about first.
That'd be great.
I don't have anything else to talk about, really,
No,
until we
go
look
over
at it.
there, yeah.
Until we-
Then I just-
My biggest concern was that we could be segregated somehow, because we have confidentiality, I have federal claims, we have a lot of social security, personal information. There almost needs to be separation. I just don't know that we can give them an office inside our office and
Okay.
have secure. That's to be determined, but that would be my major concern, is that
You know, this particular entity also would like some confidentiality, so maybe that's a mutual thing. But as far as going into the future too, we need to know these things, you know.
certainly.
Good.
Over, take a look.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Okay,
We got probably a few more things to do here.
Okay.
The chairman, take back
we'll be
over.
over shortly. Evidently, we've got everything covered here. There's no comments from those in attendance, I don't think. So do you have anything, Courtney, and where are we at next week?
Um, Eighth? All right, so we'll canvass that election I have tomorrow. And then we'll have, Dave thought he'd have the drainage assessments ready for
Okay.
you to approve for billing, and then bill day.
And Bill, Bill Day.
Bill Day.
Payables.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else? No? Nope. We're in order for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.